listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Them's the options.
And they have.
They have.
Already?
We've had one that
Got
feels
plenty.
particularly germane to my life, because this happened to me. I had a conversation about this exact thing.
It's
the
one
other
of your
day.
favourite words, isn't it, Jermaine?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. No, it's a
Yeah.
good one. It's one I never use.
Do you not use Jermaine?
Not since the Jackson 5. I feel it's...
And the producer's life partner.
Yes, of course. But I use Your Majesty occasionally.
Yeah.
What a great
Quite
name
right
that was.
too.
You don't
But,
meet enough Your Majesties in life.
No, I've never met
Unless
any.
you're a royal.
I have met Jermaine.
Have you?
Yeah, we had a long conversation about how lovely he smelt.
You've worked with them all, haven't you?
He's
I
got
can imagine he'd smell lovely.
He's got a lovely sort of coconutty lemon. And I said, is that Body Shop? And he said, what? And he said, no, I have this. And he gave me quite a long, detailed thing about it.
Oh, that's good.
Be straight with you. You often ask men, you often talk to men about how they smell. You had a similar encounter with Ollie Murs, I seem to remember.
That is true.
Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah.
That was one of the Ford ones, wasn't it?
Tom Ford,
Oh,
you
yeah,
said
he's
you
a
smell
big-
lovely, Ollie.
It's, now you come to mention
Yeah.
it. That's 2 in 61 years.
Yeah.
It's
Like
a trend.
buses,
I'm
like
calling it a
buses,
trend.
aren't they?
Anyway, what sorry, Alan.
Yes.
Good morning. Had an idiotic eureka moment yesterday when I was travelling with a colleague to get some petrol.
Can I stop for any new listeners?
Oh, yes.
Because, they're flocking in at all times.
Oh, yeah.
An
So we
idiotic
hear
eureka moment is when you don't get something that everyone else has got.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we think of an obvious example?
Sooty and Sweep.
Sooty
being
and
named
Sweep.
after
The fact that that's a pun on, both.
Yeah.
They're both
Chimney.
window chimney cleaning.
window cleaning.
Chimney cleaning.
You're not helping make this clearer.
Concepts.
Yeah.
Had an idiotic eureka moment yesterday when I was travelling with a colleague to get some petrol. When I questioned which side the pump cap was on, they informed me of the little arrow on the petrol pump indicator on the dashboard, which points to which side you fill up from. Absolute game changer, Nick from Leicester.
I must admit, I did not know that.
Well,
Well-
I've heard about this, but I don't think my car's got one.
The motoring correspondent.
Yeah, I know, I'm outraged.
Well, I found out about this game changer some months back, and I get excited every time I see that arrow.
You see, my method is, having had the same car for 5 years, I remember
Well,
which side it's on.
that's good. But
I don't.
I've twice in the last 3 weeks gone to the wrong side.
I was going to say,
Petrol
bought a new
station.
car.
No.
Yeah.
I remember.
I've had to
I
drive
remember.
A bit of
around.
Kendrick Lamar.
I remember remembering the wrong side once, and I parked, and I took the hose right across the back of,
never
and
go
I was
right across.
really straining with this hose. Like I was trying to, if you can imagine trying to get an elephant into
that's
a
awful, Frank.
delivery truck, and you had him by the trunk.
Yeah.
And I was oh man,
Or you could. Well, I reversed once and tried to park wrong way round, and they spoke on the microphone and said,
Oh,
"Don't
they
do
do.
that, please."
what about when I was
So
doing
humiliating.
I was doing an interview once.
At the petrol
with
station?
Yeah. I was it. Someone else
Work
was
with them all,
driving.
Al. Work
and
with them all.
and
Petrol
they
station.
stopped for petrol, and I was on the phone to someone from, the Colchester Gazette. I'm trying to build it up. And I got out the car and I was saying, yeah. So, when I first started doing comedy, and suddenly the public announcement system went, and I couldn't hear. And I said, sorry, mate, I can't hear. There's some sort of PA system on the garage forecourt. It's going, I said, I'm really sorry about this, mate. Whoever heard of a garage where they make... And then I could see the bloke waving from inside. What he was saying was, switch off your phone immediately. Yeah. Because you can blow up an entire garage with a mobile phone.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Because
When did that happen, by the way?
Well, I always use headphones so they can't see. But if you've ever been on the wrong end of the microphone announcement, it's mortificado.
Yes. Well, when you're on doing an interview, I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
It was like one of those where, all line up for the egg and spoon race type announcements, very echoey. But is it true that a spark... You know when you get sparks fly off your mobile phone? You know that phenomenon that we've all seen many, many times. I just don't think it's ever happened. If
No, I
anyone's
don't
got
think it's happened.
anyone's got any evidence, and don't give us the gory details of people on fire running.
Like you've
Quite a specific texting, can I just say?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a mobile phone taking out a garage? 8, 12, 15.
But no fatalities.
Well, if there's fatalities, just keep them under your hat. Breakfast, keep it light, that's what we're saying.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Tom from Fleet has been in touch about car forecourts. I once had a car that would smoke from under the bonnet for no reason occasionally. You should have heard the announcement tannoy go into meltdown when that happened at the pumps.
Bet.
Apparently, don't worry, it does that wasn't enough to placate him.
Well, it turns out you're right, Frank Skinner.
Okay.
Because we've had a number of people getting in touch to say that a show called Mythbusters, if anyone's familiar with that, they busted this myth by proving it isn't true. They filled a van full of mobile phones and called all of them at once. They said it was very anticlimactic for an hour's worth of television.
Because nothing exploded.
Yeah, but this is a known... I mean, it seems like it's a bit of an urban myth.
Well, I'd say there's two brilliant things about that. One, well, obviously it's safer, which is a good thing. But also, and isn't it great, by the way? So this is, let's call this 1B. That look, but we've got all these people out there and just know this stuff.
Yeah, I love
sometimes
it.
wish we were on air all the time. You could just constantly ask questions. Yeah. I've got this idea for doing think about this, for doing a 24-hour show for charity. What do you think?
Speak to my people.
I think it's an interesting way to raise
End
the
my
subject
career.
rather than going
On
through
air.
agents in the
On air.
traditional fashion. I like it.
I just worry that I'd
What do you worry about?
saying
Start.
unguarded things.
Start, my friend.
I don't think 24 hours will be that different to 3 in that regard.
Oh, maybe you're right. But at my age, 24 hours non-stop. What if it killed me?
Well,
what if it actually... What a way
I'm
to go.
really sad about that.
it'd be a ratings winner on the
Yeah.
on the repeats.
We go
wouldn't
viral, Al.
it? Yeah.
I'll get a nice black Versace suit.
We're very going to move on while there's still some charities left we feel we can raise money for.
Frank, do you feel like going back to that garage forecourt and remonstrating with
Yeah,
that
and
man?
saying, yeah, well, actually, it was fine. Now, the other thing that makes me happy about that is I'm a great one for going down the sort of listings on the telly, seeing what's on, on the TV guide.
Oh, yeah.
And I must have seen the word Mythbusters 1,000 times, and I've never clicked on it. So
No.
I didn't know what it was. I suppose you could guess. But for all I knew, it could have been about, somebody beating up King Arthur.
True. You don't want that.
But now it turns out that it's somebody putting things straight. So I might click on Mythbusters because I'll be pretty miffed. I'll be unless there's any Mythbusters that can cheer me up. Myth.
Yeah.
I'll be really miffed if I click on it for the first time and it's this programme telling us about the garage forecourt, which I already knew. Wouldn't that be like?
Also, finally, 313, didn't Frank also ask Thierry Henry how he smelt so nice?
Oh, did you?
It was in all the layers of toiletries, apparently. That's 3 in 61 years. Keep up the good work.
I don't remember asking Thierry Henry.
Yeah, if you could just elaborate 313 on when, where, how, why, what. Which I believe are the first rules of journalism.
No, that's... I mean, that might well be that they remember and I don't. I concede that is a genuine possibility.
Yeah, and was it public or private? Anyway.
I don't remember meeting Thierry Henry.
Can't even say it now.
Yeah, I'm having a bit of Thierry Ennui. I mean, first French joke of the morning. Come on!
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I went to the Brits this week.
Oh, Big Daddy, I love it when you go to the
You
Brits.
didn't go to them for ages and now you've been back a couple
He can't
of times,
stop.
haven't you?
Yeah, you know what? It's a great night out.
Is it?
When you're
It
not
is.
presenting it.
Yeah, well, obviously. Though I must say, to be fair, I think Jack Whitehall is the first person I've seen properly do well.
Well, next to you,
Yeah.
who would obviously be my fave as a presenter of anything, I think he did a very fine job as well.
Well, I did it like a man in a Messerschmitt belching out black smoke and flames heading towards the lead grey ocean
Operating a
beneath him.
scorched earth policy or something, were you?
But no, I thought he did a good job. So, fair play. Obviously, on one level, that upset me.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think, I was more pleased than I was upset. And I think that's a sign I'm
good.
becoming a better person as I get older.
Yeah.
How
Okay.
was the seating situation? Was it, oh my God, there's Stormzy, or was it Mind Your Head's catering staff?
Stormzy was on our table.
No.
No, not actually. It was actually Storm was on our table, who was Ronan Keating's wife.
Oh, yes.
But people might call her Stormzy, who knows her.
They might.
Yeah.
Very nice. And, of course, my mates from Kiss Breakfast Show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, Ricky, Melvin and Charlie, they are the best. They are. If I'd been born much, much later, I'd want to hang out with them all the time. As it is, once a year's enough at my age.
So is it the same guys that were there last year?
Yeah,
that you
but
sat
they're
with?
such
Yeah.
Have a little reunion every
Right,
year.
it's nice.
They're such nice. Honestly, I hugged them all at the end of the night and told them how lovely they were.
Did you have
You
lols?
didn't do that weird hug that you did last week to demonstrate.
I did with
hand on the hip.
with Charlie. I have a hug. I was condemned for this. Now get this. I have a hug.
The 2018 hug, we call it.
It's a hug that I do with women, right? And the nature of the hug is a bit like, those things that
absolutely
sometimes
weird.
they stand outside shops and they're two pieces of wood leaning
A-frame.
up. It's an A-frame,
yes,
is that what?
it's called an
So it's an
A-frame.
A-frame hug. So we join at the shoulders and then I lean out so that none of my body's touching anything except the woman's shoulders and arms.
It's a very complex, Strictly move.
But you also, when you demonstrated it for us, you also offered sort of a stiff
I
arm
didn't
against
demonstrate
left hip
it.
position.
I hugged Daisy. It was supposed to be a demonstration. She said that is the weirdest hug. And what I do, I keep a distance from
Yeah.
the woman, and because
Oh, 'cause
I've
you fear
heard of
retribution.
men. I've heard of men who wear a plasticine tray on the whole front and take a complete body mould of the woman, and then make that up at home. And I just don't want anyone thinking I'm one of those guys.
We wouldn't think that of you.
I saw a bloke once hug a woman on a tube station, and I thought he's an opportunist.
What do you mean?
I just thought the way he did it, I thought, come on, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Strange isolated incident.
anyway, but then Daisy, of course, told me off for it, took it as a personal snob
Yeah.
because we weren't intermingled in some way. But anyway, that's what I
you
do.
hugged the Kiss guys, yeah?
So yeah.
Ironically, no.
So the guys, I don't care.
no such
I don't
fears.
care about any outlines with the guys.
Right.
Yeah.
But with Charlie, I did the distance.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's respect.
Respect him under.
Yeah.
And what
but
did you think? So I want to know your highlights.
my guest was the former England cricket captain Mike Brealey.
Was it?
He loved it.
Lots of strange lies.
Yeah. I wish I'd.
Was
took
it your personal
What if I found him
assistant?
out the blue? Is that Mike Brealey? Yeah. So who is this? It's Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, you do. Google it.
Also, so 80s to call people up.
I'd be
Out
happy
of
to.
the
Oh, Mike
blue.
Brealey, you got to call him.
Hello.
I don't.
Do you know him? Do you know Mike Brealey?
Never met him. But I think 44 first-class centuries. He deserves a night at the Brits as much as anyone.
True.
Yeah.
But anyway, we didn't go. Gemma Atkinson was on our table,
Right.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah.
who danced there just the week before, I think.
Oh, I
as
thought you meant
part
she
of-
Oh, on the
danced there as
tour,
a
on the
part of
Strictly
the Strictly tour, yeah.
You said
Yeah.
she danced there. I thought you meant as a mode of transport, that she'd like
She
shimmied
danced
into the
on that big
building.
grove. She danced all the way there. She got dropped off. There were some blokes. They were congering their way to Bank in East London. She said you couldn't drop us off at Greenwich. Yeah, get on the mat. And so off they went. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Why don't we start a taxi service, which is a conga, where you
Yeah.
just
Full
pick
of
people up
ideas
and
this
drop them
morning.
off. Yeah, I don't know how much people would pay to be congered.
It's going to be hard to monetise that, but we should say it up.
But let's not monetise.
We could say it up as a non-profit.
It could be a supplement to the money we raise for the 24-hour radio show.
It's like an episode of Grange Hill.
See, we got to do it quick.
Frank, last time you went to the Brits, you gave us a lovely review of Little Mix. Who was your big surprise this year? Was there one act that stood out for you, Frank Skinner?
I got to say,
Yeah.
and I actually hadn't, because what I do, I lean across to Ricky, who's sitting next to me from Kiss, and in a very, you know that bit in The Nightmare Before Christmas, what's this? What's this? Da, 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 da. What's this? What's this? I do a lot of that. And like when Thingy came, I still can't remember her name, but I want to call
Dua Lipa.
I was calling her Fra Lippo Lippi, who is it's a 15th century Italian artist that Robert Browning, you probably know, wrote a poem about.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so when she came on, it was very much, what's this? She was under an enormous stalk. Did you see it?
Yes, I did. She had a little
sat under an enormous stalk, which I
Hawaiian
assumed was sponsorship.
Oh.
I thought Stork Marjorie
They're back.
is sponsoring a 14th century Florentine artist.
Yeah.
Truly, I have lost touch. So, I did a lot of that. But for me,
Who was the winner
man
of the
night? It's got to be Kendrick Lamar.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
So you're a Kendrick Lamar fan, Frank?
Tangerine! Sorry, that's my safe word. I don't know why I just...
Okay.
Anyway, so...
like I needed to be told that.
Yeah, okay.
So you're a Kendrick Lamar fan, it
Well, I
turns out.
wasn't. I didn't really know who he was, I'll be honest. He was one of my, what's this? But I just thought, I thought the rigmarole smashing up the car and that was a little bit fourth year.
Right.
But I didn't mind. I just thought the actual rapping was very, very exciting. It reminded me why I used to listen. I listened to hip hop for about 5 years, sort of.
Big Eminem fan, I remember.
And it reminded me of what excited me about it. It was just that. It's just an electric thing. Anyway, we're not here to talk about music.
No.
We're not.
Well, we are a bit. Actually.
Real
I've got to
music
be. If I'm going to
matters,
be
that's
completely,
what we say.
you say real music matters, but there was no tribute to Mark E. Smith at the Brits.
Right.
No, I noticed that.
Did he get on with the Brits?
The Brits where real music doesn't matter.
Well, there
Right.
was a tribute to Ed Sheeran,
Yes,
I
there was.
noticed, from
The
Elton
VT.
John, who, hats off to Elton.
Yeah.
Well, not hats.
Well,
he can
not
take his
hats
hat
off.
off now.
But the fact that he goes to the I Have Given Up shop and that's it. He's like, I'm wearing a tracksuit.
Well,
I'm not going
saying,
to put a suit on.
This is exactly.
He's mafia.
Yeah, he's allowed.
I
He's either
turned,
tracksuit or suit. He's
I
total
turned
mafia.
to one of my fellow table men and said, when Elton John got the phone call, would you mind presenting this by video? And he thought, I know what I'll wear. He actually thought that. Oh yeah, I can wear that. You know that red tracksuit top with that black one with the red stripe. I'll wear that. That'll look great. Maybe the pink glasses with that.
Can you imagine the PA? Oh, Elton, maybe a nice Versace suit I have in closet.
Yeah, Elton. Why doesn't the PA say, Elton, don't wear that?
Because they'd be sacked.
They'd be sacked immediately. But that's where he suffered from that tantrum thing.
Yeah.
Is that people are not saying to him, don't wear that, come on.
And now he's going on the Brits in his tracksuit.
I like to think I'd tell you that.
Pardon?
I'd like to think I'd tell you that. If
Yeah,
you had to
I
do
think-
a tribute to someone
Yeah.
at a ceremony like that and you put on a tracksuit, I'd be horrified.
If I'd have done it, I wouldn't have worn anything on the top.
Just a suit jacket.
Just because then people think, well, where do the clothes start, if at all?
Oh, what, nothing at all on the top?
Well, they wouldn't
Well, to
know,
be
would they?
fair,
Head and shoulders.
Stormzy went topless in the rain.
He did.
I mean, we've all done it, love.
He did.
But
Have I ever
Big
gone
chest,
topless
he's
in
done-
the rain?
He's done enough push-ups because he knew that was coming, I reckon.
Well, I've got to say, it was a bit of a moment.
Was
I
it?
know it's slightly pathetic, but it was a
What's
bit...
pathetic?
Pathetic.
Well, someone doing that and you're going, Phew.
Yeah.
I think I did actually do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't really get that. I like Fra Lippi did a speech about, strong women and all that, which was great and very apposite for the night. And then came on in, an outfit which I thought, for goodness, I wanted to put my coat round her.
Oh, right.
And then brought on like 200 of very, very sort of slim and beautiful young women.
Right.
And I thought, come on, let's have a...
Well, you're saying, what's this?
Bit of consistency.
Let's have some ugly people. Get some ugly people on, maybe, for example. Also, it was
funny.
a bit...
That would be funny, though.
I don't
Just
understand.
to even things out for the night.
Would she have to announce it, or would people just be going, hang on, what's...
Well, they didn't be ugly, but they don't all have to be that classic sort of slim, beautiful.
Yeah,
young.
I'd like it if someone who was like an attractive academic maybe came on that just looked a bit out of place, maybe in a wrap dress or...
Yeah, exactly. Someone like that came on and...
Yeah, a bit normy.
I'd also think if someone like Fra Lippi thought, you know what, I might just wear like trousers tonight and a jumper for my song.
Yeah.
Because, why do I have to put myself out there? But anyway, I don't want to get into the politics of it, obviously, but I don't really understand
Well, you wouldn't be... You'd have to give her one of your hugs, Frank.
I'll tell you what I did.
And that get up, can you imagine?
Oh, God.
You'd be doing the A-frame with her.
I was embarrassed about being in the same arena as somebody dressed like that. There was a woman who had... I learnt a new word, and that's always exciting.
Oh, good.
Have you checked it with the in the A5 book?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I said to my friend Joe, I said, what is that dress made of over there? And she said, that's pleather.
Oh, yes.
I'd never heard of pleather.
Yeah.
In your community?
No, I'd never heard of it. I think once Chris Eubank told me that's how he relaxed. But
He told you never to mix it with business.
He did, yeah.
Business.
Yeah. But I'd never heard of pleather before, and there it was in front of me.
Yeah.
Not much of it.
Was it a lady wearing it?
It was a lady. Well, yes. But as my mate's mum would say, she'd have been better off saying her prayers.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
What did we eat on the
Nice
night?
food. Did you make the food?
It was
Sometimes
duck.
you've missed it.
No, I made
make
it.
the
I've still
food?
got...
I mean, I know he's not hosting anymore, but let's not have him work in the kitchen.
No,
Well, he's sitting near
I'll tell
enough
you
to
what,
them.
though, I did use my over 60s travel card again to get there.
Good for you.
It's the driver. I got
Keeping it
in
real.
a car, and then after half an hour, the driver... he sort of was just driving around into one dead end after the next.
Right.
And half an hour had gone, and I was less than a mile from my house.
What?
Yeah, and I said, mate, you're going to just drop me by a tube? And he said, I'm really sorry about this. I'm really sorry. I said, well, it's fine. Just drop me by a tube. And he said, I don't know. There was a closed road, and I just couldn't find my way. He kept going back to where this road was closed. There was police. He said, maybe I could go back and ask the police a way around here. I said, no, just let me out of the car.
Got other stuff to do, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have.
Directing celebrities to the Brits.
You know you need to get out of a cab when they're saying, maybe I can ask the police.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what can I tell you what I was wearing on the night?
Please do.
I'm going to tell you about my underclothing.
Oh, are you?
You know, we had a dispute many weeks ago. Al said that he loved bamboo socks. Right?
He did.
Yes.
And I thought it was a brand, if you remember. I'm an old man, Commander. And so somebody actually... Alan never corrected me, neither did Emily, to that matter. So, one of our readers texted in and said, I'm sorry, someone has to tell Frank that bamboo is a fabric. I had no idea. That's bamboo.
It was a brand name,
Bamboo and pleather in, 3 weeks?
Oh.
I'm working my way through the fabrics. So...
They're a backing band.
Then I said, don't try and beg for free socks on my show. Alan. I didn't say I was much nicer than that. But anyway, they sent him free socks.
Not that much nicer.
and Emily and everyone had socks, but they said don't give Frank any because he was a bit derisory.
And you respected them for that?
I did. But I said I respected them, and then we've sort of made friends, and they sent me a little parcel last week.
Yeah.
But they sent me not just socks. So I actually went to the Brits. This is true. I wore BAM socks, pants and T-shirt.
You wore a T-shirt to the Brits?
Yeah. Well, I had underneath. It's cold.
Oh, T-shirt underneath the shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
svelte now. You can take the layers.
I had so much bamboo on me.
I mean, you're like a 70s coffee table.
I was, in many ways. It was fabulous. They also sent me a bamboo balaclava.
They never.
But it's quite it's like almost like a full face.
Are you going to use that?
Well, I thought I might wear that on the night. Yeah. I could have got backstage. I could have said I'm with the East European Puppet Troupe. But I didn't try it because I didn't want to get...
no, they might have...
I didn't want to get manhandled.
Yeah. You don't want
but anyway, it's a great...
You've got an itch, Frank.
I have got a bit of an itch.
Really going at it.
I can only wear a bamboo now. That's my problem.
I mean, if you're not going to wear that balaclava, it sounds useful for under a motorcycle crash helmet or something similar.
I have to say, every time Ed Sheeran was mentioned on the night, I couldn't resist going, Sheeran! Sheeran!
Which is not how his good friend Elton John pronounces it, is it?
No.
Sheeran. He said it more like one of the Lion King characters.
Sheeran.
Yes.
It's a good job he wasn't giving the prize to Kendrick Lamar. People would have expected a llama to come back, like Roman Rat or something. That would have been Mickey
disappointing,
Mouse.
Actually.
Yeah. If I had a llama, I think I might name it Kendrick.
That would be good.
Yeah, see how many people got that. I'll tell you what, though. Do you remember when I came in here slightly hysterical one day? And I couldn't...
Yeah, it was a Tuesday.
I couldn't stop laughing about the fact I'd seen this Harry Styles video where he flies, and it was the most lewd... It's the most I've laughed at anything on telly. I mean, for years, including comedy shows. It won Best Video of the Year.
Yes, I noticed that.
Can you... I mean, that...
Is it meant to be funny?
Well, I watched it again. I thought maybe I misjudged it. And I watched it yesterday on YouTube. It still made me really, really laugh. I'll tell you what I did as well. This is terrible. You know when you get pressed to unmute? That thing comes pressed to unmute. Yeah. I didn't.
Just
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Yes.
So, did you happen to spot a rather special lady on the fro this week, boys?
On the fro? What
the front row.
Oh,
the fro.
I didn't know that was called the fro.
Sitting next to Anna Wintour, the actual Queen.
I did see this.
Did you see it?
It got a lot of headline coverage, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because Anna Wintour wore sunglasses and kept them on indoors, and the Queen wore tweed.
She did.
Now,
Powder blue tweed.
But also the Queen kept her gloves on indoors.
I'm no fashion expert, but it seemed to me that this news story was...
Well, I've been misinformed.
You thought
Did you lie on your CV?
Fashion correspondent. This news story seemed to be... I mean, the Queen, I think we can all agree, is a posh person, can't we? Like, she's near enough.
Yeah.
It seemed to be posh person wears tweeds and person who works in fashion wears sunglasses indoors.
Doesn't take sunglasses
Is this
off.
news or is this no news? I don't know if I don't know if I got it.
Well, I was most impressed by the Queen because, little fashion insiders moment here, she obeyed the fro rule. The front row rule with regards to legs. You never cross your legs in the front row.
Is that right?
That's the rule. Because you, A, might trip the models up,
Oh,
B, it looks ugly.
imagine that.
You don't want that.
Oh, God,
See,
the
Frank,
thought
imagine
of it.
if you did that. Oh.
And it's
You know those blokes who do that, who sit with their legs crossed in sort of public places, and when you walk past, they just dip the toe in They just
Oh, yeah.
pull
Yeah,
the toe
yeah.
in just a
I
bit.
showed it.
I think
Then the
I've
next
beaten that
person.
guy. I've got long legs. I think I've beaten that guy.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
I sort of think, why don't you just sit in a different way, then you wouldn't have to keep doing that. I feel like I'm on one of those those clickometers that count how many people have gone in every time.
Right, yeah.
Every time the toe goes in.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So you shouldn't do that. It's really not done.
I didn't know that. All good stuff.
And
didn't know
also-
Fro, didn't know Pleather.
Don't mix the two, darling.
No.
And also, it looks messy, the symmetry in photographs. That's why. So you have to
Right.
have your legs together with your feet parallel position. Anna Wintour is the only person that breaks this rule. She makes a point of crossing her legs to show that
Does
she's
she?
high status. Yeah.
Is that
Wow.
right?
Yes. So the Queen.
Or
but
she
the
could
Queen,
just be bursting for the loo.
she could be. A
forgotten
lot of
to go.
water she'll be drinking. But the Queen, she kept her legs in the designated pose, and I loved her for that.
Yeah, she's quite good on that sort of
Protocol.
Yeah, protocol.
Do you think she gets briefed on
Yeah,
protocol
but she can
before
break
she
the
goes
rules.
to
The
things?
Queen, she does
I'm
what she
surprised
wants.
she hasn't
often
written.
though,
Why doesn't
doesn't
she
she?
write a book on protocol?
That would be good.
Yeah. So did you enjoy her outfit?
I really liked her outfit because I envy anybody that can wear tweed, because I have a tweed jacket and it's never the right occasion for it for me. But she probably moves in different circles from me.
Well-
Like, I don't know when I'm going to wear it. Like if I'm like today, I cycled here from a hotel. I wouldn't want to wear tweed.
You could wear tweed on a cycle. It'd be brilliant.
Oh, it'd be
that would
lovely.
Wouldn't it give me a clammy back?
No,
it's
it'd give you
very,
a Miss Marple feel.
a bit Miss and a bit Hugh Grant cycling to a country wedding
What about?
Yeah, well, I always...
in a rom-com.
Many years ago, the manager of the Comedy Store, who was Camp, I think it's fair to say. You still say Camp? Is Camp all right?
My
Camp
parents'
allowed?
Where's my
friends,
A5
Check
sheet?
the A5
they
book.
tend to be described as flamboyant in
And
their
I saw
obits.
him in a
Do
tweed.
they?
I saw him in a tweed suit, and he said, "Yes, it's my Diary of an Edwardian Lady look," which I always liked.
No, I would love a
That's a
tweed
description.
suit, but I haven't got the matching trousers, so it's just a jacket, and that makes me worry. If I wear it with jeans, I'll look like Jeremy Clarkson or something.
Well, speaking of Jeremy
don't want that.
Clarkson and Top Gear,
What's happened to them?
Some of the models, I think they're doing all right. Some
Oh,
of
yeah.
the models wore full face crash helmets. Did you see that?
I
Yes.
saw that.
I thought, now this would have opened up the modelling profession a bit if this was the norm.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
gives, the catchment area suddenly has gone up 70%.
Yeah.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
My favourite detail about the Queen on the Fro was that, and I don't know if this is true, I should say, but one of the stories I heard was that the editor of Vogue, he cried, I believe, was the story I heard, because he wasn't told about it.
Oh, so he wasn't there.
Oh, it
yes,
happened
I
after.
believe he
I
shed
love-
tears
I
when he
love
discovered he
that he
hadn't been
cried.
on. Yeah. So
true.
our thoughts are with him at this time.
Love
We've
it.
had a little bit of a compliment in for Al here. I know
no,
we
we're
don't
not
normally read praise.
We're not going to read that, surely. We are.
Well, we
Oh, I
might
thought
be.
I thought. Anyway,
It just says, "Good morning, Al. Great show last night."
that's very
And then,
kind, thank you.
thanks for a brilliant night, Russ, one of the bikers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, what's the story there?
Well,
Oh, is
you
that
did a
something-
private
my-
show for the hairy bikers.
That's right. yeah. And their mates. Russ is one of the bikers.
I bet the catering was out of this world.
I like the hairy bikers. They're probably my favourite of the TV cookery people.
Well, I've always felt that, in my opinion,
Yeah.
they should be wearing hats and things covering their beards.
Oh, the
and things.
beards things.
I can't imagine having anything cut by the hairy bikers that hasn't got a hair in it. So it
I think
doesn't.
they seem like a giggle. They're
I'll tell you
all
what, the
right.
Queen thing reminded me of when I went to the one time I've been to London Fashion Week. I went with Tanya Breyer.
Oh, yes.
Remember her?
Yeah.
Don't
And
know if
she
I
did
do.
exactly that. She explained the whole phenomenon. She, in
Oh.
fact, she was my, what's this? What's this? And she told me about how this collar had developed
Yeah.
and stuff
Oh,
like
nice.
that. Peter Wilde was there, I mentioned. Google it. And
I
yeah,
love
it was
Peter the Wilde.
great. It was really interesting.
Good.
Yeah, good old Tanya
Did she
Breyer.
keep her sunglasses on indoors for the whole time?
only when I told her I had a bit of salt in the pocket in case I was attacked. No, she didn't, but I know people do. We're aware of that.
Yeah.
I noticed at the end, though, you know when I used to watch fashion TV a lot. Do you remember? And at the end, all these beautiful people have gone past dressed beautifully, and then the designer comes out looking like they've slept by a wheelie bin.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
That night.
Unless it's Stella, who always looks great.
No, but if it's the blokes in
Stella
particular,
French.
the blokes...
No, I just like
they
them.
have made...
I do.
I don't mind people being casual. I don't like the idea that people get up and say, what's the worst... You know what I mean? I mean, it's the Elton John, Ed Sheeran moment.
Yes.
So they come on and you think, well, how did you work in fashion?
And they've got a kind of divorce beard.
But they're also saying, I'm a bit, I'm slightly above this. I don't dress up fashionably. Well, don't get these young people to dress up fashionably
right.
if you're not going to do it.
What is
Join
this?
in or get another. Anyway, I'm sure he's a lovely bloke. So he came out for his applause.
This is
at the
Richard
end.
Quinn, the designer. Yeah.
God bless him.
What was he sporting?
He was, jeans.
I'll tell you what he was wearing. He had a baseball cap.
Oh, yeah.
There
I
you
don't
go.
know if that's protocol. He had like a check shirt, a bit pickup truck chic,
Right.
Yeah.
and a T-shirt underneath.
Well,
Yeah.
No, I don't mind that if he's, cleaning the car.
yeah.
But not meeting the... Well, not even the meeting. Just come out at the end for applause. But anyway, they all do it. Would be nice if someone challenged it. Maybe come out in a suit and tie.
Good point.
It's a different world. I appreciate that. But the Queen, everyone was clapping except the Queen. Did you notice that?
She don't clap. Queen don't clap.
Is that right?
Yeah.
She
Queen don't
did
clap.
not
I
clap.
suppose with the amount of stuff she sees, if she starts clapping...
gotta have
it's gonna be
rules,
a
Frank.
problem.
She's gotta have
but
rules.
she could have a couple of odor eaters down the gloves.
It's
Wouldn't,
not even that, it's
soften the
It's
impact.
the calories. She'd have to have a snack bar in between shows. She's watching stuff all the time.
But that'd be good for the... Remember the Queen eats those chocolate biscuit cakes? That's her specialist thing. Clapping's probably the only exercise she gets nowadays.
Walking the corgis. She's still
Yeah.
doing plenty.
Does she still walk the corgis?
Yes, I think so. Hang on, I'll text her.
Well, respect to her for that. But I thought she could have applauded at the end. I mean, come on. She probably saw his outfit and thought, well, if you're not making the effort.
You're not trying to suggest that she's the original tough crowd, are you?
I think
Yeah,
she
Queen is a tough
'Cause
crowd.
I
Tough
saw
crowd.
a young,
Baby.
there was a young, attractive person next to her who leaned across and said something, which is obviously a joke. And the Queen, just the top lip moved about half a millimetre.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was it. I thought, I know that woman would have been in bed that night thinking, I wish I hadn't said it.
Oh, can you imagine?
I mean, I was
yeah.
on that woman's behalf.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Still laughing at what you just said.
Okay. If you think I'm funny, guys, you should hear me off air.
I agree. 327 has just texted. The Queen may not clap, but I have seen her do an air punch and a yes.
Have you?
When her horse called Estimate won at Royal Ascot a few years back.
Oh, that's good.
Lovely.
Spotted.
Yeah. Can I say I got a parcel from Rachel Worthington from Newport in South Wales.
Okay.
And you may recall last week I was talking about I'd been to a very dimly lit restaurant and I actually had to use my phone
Yes.
to read the menu because it was so dark. And Rachel very kindly has sent me a British Rail lamp, which is quite a big piece of equipment.
Wow.
And I do dream now of taking it into that restaurant because it was
that would be
what a statement that would be. I think I could probably, if I had a transfer available, I could call Batman with this lamp.
Oh, easily, Frank.
Yeah, it's a beautiful. I thought she'd sent me a flat iron.
It did feel like it was some Monopoly type iron, didn't
Yeah,
it?
because my mum used to have an iron that you put on the cooker instead of plugged in. It just got hot on the flame. But
Did you
no,
have a mangle?
I did.
Lovely.
Oh, yes. And a Tobin maid.
What's that?
You had a maid?
Well, the maid is the wooden thing that you...
Oh.
So you put soapy water in this tub
Yeah.
and then put your clothes in, and then you hold onto this wooden maid, which it looks a bit like if you made a pneumatic drill out of wood, and then you just thump the clothes until you think they're clean.
I love this. That was how we used to live with Frank Skinner.
Yeah, you're listening to Living History.
Why my mum didn't have a gym membership. Yeah.
486 has texted. We were discussing the side of the car that the fuel cap is on.
Oh, yes.
And it has led to various anecdotes on the subject of petrol. We were driving through France once when we had to stop for fuel. Once I was at the pump, I couldn't get anything out of it. Then, lo and behold, the pump began to talk to me in echoing, garbled French. Being the true Brit I am, travelling in a country without knowing any advanced language, something drove me after a minute to shout, "Avez-vous un petrol?" down the speaker. Needless to say, she switched off the pump, came out of her hut and ushered us off the forecourt. And you wonder why the French don't like us Brits. That's from Mark in Nottingham.
What? She wouldn't give him any petrol?
Sounds like it.
Harsh, isn't it? Isn't it? He was trying.
Yeah.
I mean, he was having a go, but not...
Throw the guy a bone.
I'm trying to think now that this is what the Albion players went through at that drive-in McDonald's in Barcelona. Yeah. Okay.
We've had a big moment this week as well sent in to us.
Now, a big moment, I just explained. Many of you will know that Big Mo in EastEnders is played by Gary Oldman's sister. But even though many of you will know that, one is often told it as if it's something you've never heard before in your life. And so that's what a big moment is, when somebody says, "You won't believe this, but..." And you're thinking,
And you
I
actually
knew
think,
this.
well, I so know that.
I knew it.
So this has been sent to us by Margaret Caborn-Smith, who you might be familiar with.
I know her work.
Yes.
A comedy actress, very
What,
talented.
she sent into the show?
Yeah, she's tweeted me. She said, "Husband just had a good big moment. Did you know the only one without a beard in ZZ Top has the surname Beard?"
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'm going to let you have that, Margaret.
I had forgotten that, but yeah, that is a goodie.
That's a goodie, isn't it? That's going in.
I didn't know that.
I said it like I'm doing Room 101. So, what's
going in.
upsetting Emily?
Yeah, exactly. We used to do like a mock versions of that in the office. With me saying stuff like, "So let's see what Sir Alan Sugar doesn't like about the works of Sir Thomas Wyatt." It was always stuff like that. My dream choices.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, I don't know if people are generally aware of the phenomenon that is Hamilton.
Yes.
Hamilton is a musical.
Smash hit.
Well, it won 16 Tonys. You know, Tony Awards are like the theatre awards on Broadway. 16.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could even name 16 Tonys. If we sat here now...
Mowbray?
Pulis?
Tony Mowbray. Oh, both football managers.
Straight off the bat.
Tony Grealish, what about him? West Brom midfielder whose nephew is Example.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Shut up.
That is good knowledge.
Yeah. But
Okay,
still, we're struggling.
I'm pretty much all out now.
Okay. Don't text in Tonys.
No,
That'd just
okay, we know-
that'd be taking money by false pretences. Irish Tony used to sing in the British Queen down Albury.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Always used to sing When I Leave This World Behind.
Is Tony Robinson a thing?
Tony
Who's
Robinson a thing?
That's the guy.
Baldrick.
That's Baldrick, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Tony Hart.
Very good.
Very good.
Anyway, that's not. They didn't win
Come on.
people called Tony. They were.
No.
So it's a massive phenomenon. And
I know
it's-
a guy called Big Tony. Does that count?
Yeah.
Oh, enough with
Great.
the Tonys.
So West.
I genuinely do.
It's in London now.
Yes.
It's arrived in London, and I think there's a 2-year waiting list for a ticket.
To go and see a show?
Yes.
2 years?
Yes.
Yes.
God, I mean, there's planning in there.
But anyway, I managed to get a couple of tickets for me and my partner.
Lovely.
So
Connections.
so we went to see And
What all the fuss was about.
but I tell you what, it's one of these. We had to queue outside. We had to queue on the street.
Okay, I'm
And
out.
there was people
I'm out at
Yeah,
that
I'm not
point.
There was
anymore,
people
either.
walking up and down with earpieces in. A lot of them was American people saying, "Yeah, it's all fine here," and all that. Then they wanted I had photo ID. I had to take.
Oh,
yes,
really? Well,
over
Frank,
60
this
travel
was-
card always.
This was only you.
No, honestly, it's you.
for
You
everyone?
really feel like you're.
They
It's,
think everyone's got a potential doppelganger that's going to sneak in. I can see them worried that Graham Norton was going to turn up and have your comp. But
exactly. But so there's a real sense of
Yes.
you are the privileged.
You're the chosen few.
Wow.
I think they might do
It's
it
very
as a
clever.
sort of a publicity.
I do.
Me and
Oh,
David
really?
Baddiel did a show in Edinburgh years ago. The first time we did Unplanned, which is the thing we used to do, improvised show. And we decided that not to sell any tickets in advance because we quite like the idea of having a big queue.
Good
Oh,
idea.
that's a good idea.
Lovely.
So anyway, so I went to see Hamilton.
And
Awful.
can I just
Honestly,
say, I love you for saying that.
I thought it was awful. And it was I thought, this can't be it. Is this it?
Brilliant.
I honestly thought they were going to stop after 10 minutes and go, nah, this isn't it.
Kidding you?
We're messing about. Obviously, this isn't it.
So, Frank, tell me why.
Really?
Tell us why. Where?
Was it the rap? Was that the problem?
No, as you know, I like a bit
He
of
likes the rap.
hip-hop. But the hip-hop in it is not really the sort I used to be mad about. It was a bit more Will Smith.
Right.
Right.
It's very musical theatre rap, if you know what I mean.
Is it
Every
a
time
bit
I-
sixth form project?
It
No,
always
I
looks
tell
like
you-
theatre and education to me because it's got
I'll say,
it's
I
like
mean,
a history
don't get
lesson
the
in a rap.
performers in it were all obviously super talented performers.
Oh, good on them.
Sure, yeah.
But
Yeah.
they've been trapped in a theatrical nightmare.
Frank, you're going to have to be more
Hugely
specific.
successful.
I mean,
Well, I tell you, one of my
Nightmare.
problems
Yeah.
for a start off, it's about history. Now, I love musicals and I love history. So it
yes, I
should
would
have
have
been.
thought it would have been up your
And I
strata.
quite like hip hop, so it should have been
Yeah.
made for me.
But
But the way they do the history, I think it's like if you got the Wikipedia page of Alexander Hamilton and thought, you know what, I could set this to music. It's like that.
Right.
You know what exposition is, where people tell
yes.
Yeah.
they should have renamed the theatre the National Exposition Centre.
So you mean it's clumsy exposition?
Well, I'd like there's a bit where when he dies, his wife says, and because there's like R&B stuff in this one, she goes, I outlived him for 15 years. But I built an orphanage. And the
Right.
backing people go, the first orphanage in New York City. And she goes, yes, that's right. It's like that. And you think, no, just we'll work it out. Don't just keep telling us stuff.
Oh, it's not show, don't tell. You think
No,
they're just told
They
too
leave
much.
bits in by mistake and say this
Tell.
page needs further citations. It is a yeah. Well, I applaud your bravery for swimming against the tide.
Well, no, but I felt I so wanted to love it. I was so excited. The tickets were a birthday present.
Right.
I was so excited. I so wanted to sit. The idea of telling everyone, I've seen it's amazing, and they can't go. It's my dream.
Maybe that's the problem. Your expectation was too high.
I mean, normally, if
Maybe.
I saw something like this and I didn't like it, I wouldn't mention it on the show because I think I don't want to be. I'm not a critic.
right.
No,
I have a soul.
Yeah.
But this,
they're doing
obviously-
all right. They've made a few quid there.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like those birds that peck at the back of rhinoceroses. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not going to do any damage. But
Although
I have to. I wanted to turn round to the Royal Circle. I was in the front row of the Royal Circle. I wanted to turn round and say to them at the interval, "What are you seeing in this that I'm not seeing?"
Yeah.
That would have been awkward, I thought. And also, I was worried I might have toppled backwards.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
We're talking about how Hamilton It's not called How Hamilton, it's called Hamilton, and how you thought it was terrible. There's no easy way of saying this.
Yeah, maybe. I can say I feel bad for them because there was some good.
I'll be honest.
There was some good rhymes, one or two good rhymes. In
Two
it.
good rhymes.
And also, Catherine Kearney has been in touch to say, I can't believe what you're saying about Hamilton. I've been counting the days for the last 18 months since we got our tickets.
Yes, but I am totally in a minority on this. It's an
Yeah.
international phenomenon.
No,
So don't worry about that.
It's not the first time he's been in a minority. to be
No,
fair.
I'd just like to hear. I'd like to hear from people who have been to see or have seen things that are massive smash hits and didn't.
I'll be honest.
Didn't like them.
They've lost out on one sale with me because you've almost put me off.
I'm sorry. I don't want to put people
Well,
off.
Paying a fortune and waiting for
Just
24
think of
months.
Think of it this
Taking
way.
along my ID, speaking to the security guards. You've almost put me off.
No, but this
There's
is
75 hurdles that they've already created for me to go to their show.
Yeah, well, I'm the last test. I'm the gatekeeper. I think the way to look at this, to put it in perspective, is there are people, and this is our far-fetched. There are people that don't like this show.
I don't believe that.
Far-fetched, but
I
What's
reckon
wrong
there
with
are.
them?
I reckon. Well, they're imbeciles, but
Right.
it's fine, you know.
yeah.
And I don't like.
Well, you'll
I mean,
be
you don't have to read their text messages, but that's not the point.
I mean, they'll be able to get their own back when my play about Oliver Cromwell,
oh, yeah.
which is mainly dubstep, comes out.
Cromdub.
Yes.
It's called the OC.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I'm excited about it. Do you think anyone ever called Oliver Cromwell the OC? I really
Oh,
hope
that
they
would be
did.
great.
Do you think he signed off in a fountain pen? O.C.
I don't see why not.
I wish he would.
Well, he wouldn't have had a fountain pen, obviously.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
He'd have had a-
Too early for that. A quill, I mean.
He'd have had one
Would
of
he have
them.
been quill?
Wax.
Bird feathers.
Yeah. He'd have been quill, just about
Bird
quill.
feathers as opposed to...
Dinosaur
what else
feathers.
has feathers? Oh, come.
Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Now
Oh,
listen.
yes.
Very good.
Hold on. The Fez has arrived. Can you hold it?
Oh,
Okay.
now.
In case you don't know the show, the Fez is the producer's way of saying shut up, so she puts it next to me in a threatening, you know what happened to Tommy Cooper kind of way.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Do it.
We were discussing your, we're going to say, dislike of Hamilton and your feeling of isolation
I tell you
from
what, I
a
hate-
sea of adoration that it has had.
I've always been amazed that some people actually, as a living, are critics. So that's what they do.
Right.
I just think
Yes.
it's a mean-spirited and soul-destroying
Indeed.
activity. And you wonder who it appeals to. And like I say, I would keep my mouth shut about this, but it's so big. It's such an enormous, massive... It's good that the producer, Daisy, tried to win me over by saying that the bloke had written a couple of songs for Moana, the children's film. But only a couple. He means he wrote 12, and they said, these two are all right. If I was you, I'd put them in Hamilton.
Yes.
So,
Well, we've had a text in from 731, which I was going to read it earlier, but then the Fez arrivé.
the Fez rules.
Yeah, Fez rules. Frank, re Hamilton, I felt the same way about the phenomenon Book of Mormon.
I haven't
I
seen
was
that.
the only person. Don't bother. I was the only person in the audience who thought it was awful. Well, I've seen the Book of Mormon and I liked it, but what put me off it was people. I think it was the idea of people thinking they were quite clever watching it. Do you know what I mean? I think I think the frenzy surrounding it irritated me slightly.
Yeah, I didn't think that about. I mean, there was a lot of screaming young teenage girls who were very, very enthusiastic. And I think it's all right to say this. Would it be fair to say that teenage girls are sort of famous for liking rubbish?
Right. It could be that.
I mean, you know, I'm thinking like, you know, the Bay City Rollers and beyond,
Right.
up to the present time.
Teenage girls have got a bit of previous on liking things.
I imagine that they look back when they're about... I mean, when they get like 18, 19, they look back sort of ironically on what they like when they were 15, 16.
Yeah. Are you banking on us not getting text messages from Bay City Rollers fans saying...
Well, saying I still think they're amazing. There'll be some of those.
There will.
You know, something for everybody.
But, you know, we all like different things, as has been proven by this
That's what I always say in the
running.
S&M community.
Yeah.
It's very important to get that straight.
156 has texted, can I add all Richard Curtis films and the Bridget Jones movies, all inexplicably popular but pure drivel?
Wow.
I like some of those films.
Yeah.
So we're all different.
We are all different.
Well, also, Ginger Paul says it's a history of the man's life and impacts made a musical. The exposition is needed.
Oh.
No, I don't agree with that. Sorry.
Okay.
Next.
One in the column for pro-exposition.
Well, for a
Well,
start
surely
off,
good
he
exposition,
accidentally-
you're not aware it's exposition.
No, if you take the film Lincoln, they don't say this happens, and it happens, and you're drip fed the facts.
Show don't tell.
Yes.
Them's the rules.
But he has pointed out another thing it is great man history, which I thought had become very unfashionable now.
Oh, yeah.
But there you go. It's I'll tell you what, because it's about, you can't blame it for this, but because it's about the Americans breaking away from the British Empire.
Oh, right.
It is. I did think you.
Oh, that's what you don't like.
Well, no. Obviously, I didn't like that much, but I did think you'd only have to give this a slight tweak to make it about Brexit.
I think that's happened.
Yeah.
I think there may be I don't think it's got anything
Brexit the musical.
like the publicity that Hamilton
I thought it
has
could
got.
be called The Hamiltons.
Oh,
about
nice.
Neil and Christine Hamilton, who are now UKIP supporters.
I'd go to that musical. Can you imagine?
Would you? It would be. You see, the person who gets for all this stuff and about the without doubt the biggest response, the person who goes best, without doubt, and gets the most laughs by a mile, is King George III.
Right.
Oh, absolutely storms it.
Brilliant. Legend!
Yeah. And
He was a legend.
He's the bad guy,
Yeah.
you know, in the context of this. He absolutely rips the place apart. King George I mean, if they did
Frank's got his eye on a roll in Hamilton.
He likes the baddies.
if they did Brexit the musical, you wouldn't give Jean-Claude Juncker all the good lines, would you? You'd make him a dull and despisable figure. Oh, so many flaws.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've had this in from 160 who says, on the subject of things that there's a big old fuss about, and they're not so fussed. I went to see Wicked a couple of years ago and thought it was far from it. I like the cut of that person's jib.
Well, Wicked is on more or less over the road from Hamilton, and I remember going to see Wicked, and
What did you think?
I thought it was all right, Wicked. It was a very fanatical crowd.
All right.
But of course, I was thinking, well, it's not the Wizard of Oz, dear. But there are many good things in Wicked. I didn't mind
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it's fine for these people to dislike
I love a
things
musical.
And you love history.
Yes.
306 has texted, hello Frank, I understand that feeling. I personally detest Oasis and can't understand the appeal of the whiny Beatles rip-offs. Cheers for playing the track though. Jake. You know, there's room for us all, I like to think.
Of course, all this culminates in a very difficult thing.
Oh yeah.
Because we were in the front row.
You're in the fro.
Centre front row. In the fro.
In the fro.
The fro of the...
No legs crossed.
Of the
No
royal,
cross legs.
Of the Royal Circle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a brilliant view.
Great seats.
Right. Are you worried the cast saw you frowning? Is that what you're
Well, I
concerned
don't think
by?
it's so much that, but there was a massive standing ovation at the end.
Don't say you were the only ones that didn't get up.
Well, I didn't feel I could get up. I thought it would have been hypocrisy.
Frank,
So
I love it.
people would have seen.
I love it.
but can I say the ticket was paid for?
Yeah.
Free ticket. I mean, I've always said don't criticise a film if you've ate the gatto.
Is that one of the things you've always said?
Yeah, when you leave a premiere.
Hang on, just write that down.
But I
'cause
thought
I'm,
I can't in my
I'm
I
decorating
couldn't-
a
Come on,
pub and I need
Frank.
some.
I couldn't.
The protest vote.
It wasn't a I clapped because, like I said, there were some very good performances in it by individuals,
I'm sure.
and there was some good rhyme. There's also things.
Were you the only one seated?
No, I think the woman next to me was going to get up, and when she saw I hadn't, she thought, oh, well, maybe it's all right for me to sit down. But then again, we have been together 17 years. Now, there was a woman next to me because Kath didn't love it either.
Right.
And so the woman next to me, I think, was going to get up, and then she thought, no, I won't. You're right.
So there was just a 3.
The trouble is we had such a good view, you see. I think a lot of the audience were guessing.
That it was good.
But I thought, is this a good thing? Should I just get up and give the ovation? But then I'll tell you what I thought. Every standing ovation I do after this will mean nothing if I get up for something I didn't enjoy. So I fear
I'm sure that's how those performers will see it.
they won't care. The place was going crazy.
They might have been backstage
We know,
saying, well,
doesn't matter.
He didn't want to dilute his future ovation giving.
Yeah, I would have explained that to him. if
Frank,
they'd
you
have asked
know
me.
as well as I do that it doesn't matter if that whole theatre stands up. Who are the two you're going to remember seated? Come on.
Okay, but
We've all been there, love.
at least one of those guys, there's a very good chance they'll be in something that I love in
Yeah.
the future. And they'll look up and they'll see me standing and they'll think, you know what, he must have loved this. Because he
Okay.
didn't stand for Hamilton.
Okay.
I mean, the Queen didn't even applaud for the fashion guy.
No,
so-
exactly. Well, the Queen was sitting next to me. No, she wasn't. It was a bit like, I've talked about castellation on this side of the show, where around
Yes.
about castles you get that. That's what we formed on the front row of the Royal Circle. I feel bad about it, talking about it, but you have to. Firstly, to thine own self be true, and then as sure as night follows day, thou can be false to no man.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
That was a great moment at the Brits. I don't know if they showed this bit on the telly, but Tom Jones went up with who was he with? Can't
He
remember.
was with Jennifer Hudson, I believe.
I don't know, but it was
Yeah.
it was a night.
One of
Apart
the
from
Dream
Jack
Girls,
Whitehall, it was a night of profoundly substandard bands, generally speaking. And they went on, and it was going into desperate awkwardness. And Tom suddenly turned around to the crowd, and it's that. You remember when me and Greg Davies kissed on that live show? And people quite rightly recognised it was desperation.
Yeah.
He turned around and he said, "Is everybody having a good time?" I thought, that's it. Tom has basically asked for a big hand for the police.
Round of applause for the police.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You're feeling fairly robust today, aren't you, Frank? We've
Yeah.
got a correzione in, and I feel like it's fine to read this to you.
Is it just going to correzione? Hamilton is brilliant.
No.
I also like that you checked in and gave us an update on Frank's mood. I enjoyed that part of the show.
I
Go
don't
on, fire away.
want to bruise you, but I feel
Yeah.
like you can cope with this. Read Teenage Girls Liking Rubbish. I was nearly 12 when Wuthering Heights was released. I loved it and Kate Bush immediately, and I still love her and her music now. Not embarrassed at all. Kate in North Shields.
Yes, but the thing is with that, Kate, and you obviously just loved her because she had the same name. I know.
Obviously.
It's funnily enough, my partner Kathy was obsessed with Wuthering Heights.
Oh, all
Wonder
the Kates
why.
and Kathys.
No. Obviously, as ever with these things, I'm talking about a general thing. Yes, of course,
Of course.
Kate Bush is moved a lot of young women and men. But yes, Kate, I acknowledge that. I'm talking about as a general herd.
Charming.
David Cassidy.
How's your herd?
Just
Extraordinary.
the general sort of boy band thing.
You're talking about
only
group
exists.
tendencies, and it's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. We can move on.
In the
Come
same
on,
way
Kate,
boys
you
get obsessed
know
with
I
World
meant-
of Warcraft and
Yeah.
then later look back with slight embarrassment.
Or Doctor
Yeah.
Who. I think I. Oh.
You're on fire!
Whoops.
Ouchie! Oh.
Now we need to talk, surely, about KFC, which I think you briefly mentioned last week as this story was breaking.
Oh, that they're running. Yeah,
They ran out of chicken.
they did. Apparently, they now are known as KF.
Unbelievable. It's one of their initials. You'd think that would be the first thing on the
No, they
checklist
must-
if you were.
If they have a checklist, how
Yeah.
I hope is get chicken.
I mean, It would be news if they didn't have like the little barbecue sauce. If they totally ran out of that, people would be talking about, they've got no barbecue sauce. But it's the chicken.
Yeah, it's the chicken.
They've even got it in the sign.
You were the first person, you broke this story.
Did I?
You had intel, I believe, from one of your butcher friends.
I had a little bit of conspiracy theory gossip.
Yeah,
guesswork.
he's got some butcher friends, Frank.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Hello
Yeah.
to my butchers.
Okay.
Big shout out to my butchers.
Yeah, of course, we're losing a lot of vegetarian listeners.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not
I've already lost the
veganuary.
Hamilton. I've nearly lost the assistant producer, who's very sulky about me not liking
Really
Hamilton.
angry.
But you see what? She's got the what do they call them now? Album? Soundtrack. And
That's always been your news.
No, but I was going to say
Yeah.
CD, and then she'd have looked at me blankly.
Yeah, she's downloaded it, yeah.
So she's down, and she's listened to it, and that's what a lot of people do. Apparently, they listen to it. But as I said, we went to see Stephen Sondheim
We did.
interviewed, and he said, I think with musicals, what you want is people whistling the tunes on the way out, not on the way in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you've got to do homework to enjoy Hamilton, I mean, forget it.
True.
What, I have to queue and do homework.
So we've gone from KFC back to Hamilton.
Sorry,
it's
but
really,
I
Yeah.
it's really his hotspot, isn't it?
Via your butcher friends, let's use Sweeney Todd as a ramp.
Oh,
I
that's
suggest.
good.
Okay.
Good.
Very good.
Very good.
Here we
Very
go. Over to you.
What about
Al.
Spamilton? Which is the butchers.
Was that any good?
Actually,
Spamalot?
Spamalot's good, yeah. I mean,
Is it?
it's a complete rehash of what the films are, but I
Great
enjoyed it. I
reuse
love
of
the
rehash.
films. Yeah, thanks very
Very
much.
good.
Thank you.
But honestly, the Colonel, I know I visited the Colonel's grave.
Oh, do
Well,
we
I
ever?
was
We
gonna say,
talked
you're
about it for
something
about
of
3
a
hours that
Colonel
weekend, didn't we?
Yeah. He will be spinning in it this week.
the
Luckily,
bucket.
he was buried on a rotisserie.
I mean, one thing that guy liked doing
I'd
was
like to be
selling
there
chicken.
when that was fitted. That would have been worth seeing. It's a shame to rip the trousers. We got the leg. Yes, no, I did feel sorry because he was obviously a proud man with high
wouldn't have
business
liked
ideals.
this.
If he'd have heard that they run out of, I mean, the American bosses must have been absolutely furious. 'Cause
Well, 900 outlets. One of those phrases you only ever hear during a news story about a sort of problem in retail or the restaurant business. But 900 of them closed. Is that right?
I think it is.
And then
right.
somebody called the police. People were calling the police.
Oh, this has made me annoyed. I mean, I don't want to sound like a horrible old bloke, but what snowflake
Sorry about
Britain?
that.
People that can't cope with KFC not having
I have to
chicken
say,
and phoning.
there was a time
Oh,
when
come
I
on.
lived in Belsize Park. I lived about 50 yards from a KFC. I went there probably 5 or 6 times a week. If that had shut
It's
down,
not balanced. It's not balanced.
it's not balanced, but it's lovely.
It's not balanced.
It's not
Oh,
balanced either.
It's not
you're right.
balanced at all.
Three-piece dinner with coleslaw and large fries.
Memories.
3-piece dinner.
Yeah.
KFC Memories by
Someone
Frank
a bit
Skinner.
Colonel Suit.
Yeah.
He liked a 3-piece. I think that's where it came from, the meal deal
Do you think
idea.
that? I mean, he was sitting in his 3-piece suit on a 3-piece suite, and he thought, "What shall I call this?
shall I call
Hold it. See, you got a pencil, Susan? You got a pencil?" That's what happened. Wrote it on the lapel. Outrageous.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can we do a hats off to Tower Hamlets Metropolitan Police Service, who tweeted, "Please do not contact us about the hashtag KFC crisis. It is not a police matter if your favourite eatery is not serving the menu that you desire."
Yeah.
I
It's a
mean,
fair point.
Matter as a noun, again, always a police reference there. When matter is used as a noun.
Do you know that Emily often calls me Big Daddy and actually bought me a notebook in which
I
he
did.
had the word Big Daddy
Yeah.
yeah.
embossed, I think is the word.
There were questions asked at Smythson, I'll leave it there.
I bet. Have you ever had a Big Daddy in,
How dare you.
in KFC?
None of your business, my past.
I don't think I have. What
Is
does
there
it
a Big
involve?
Daddy?
A Big Daddy, oh man, it's a chicken burger.
You look really
Right.
happy discussing this.
No, but what I love about this, it's
You look so
it's a chicken burger, right? And on the so it's got a burger bap.
Yeah.
and it's got a chicken burger on it, and then it's got bacon on it, which you think, fair enough, we've already got meat, but hey, let's have a bit more.
Yeah.
And then it's got a hash brownie on it.
Oh.
So it's got a battered potato thing on the
Right.
But it can't, when you buy when you buy this enormous thing, which is a bread roll with a hash brownie and a chicken burger, it comes with another piece of chicken as a side. It comes with that. Oh, well, I'm not just going to have that. I will have another piece of chicken with it. That's a side, though.
That sounds good.
Is the other piece of chicken a wing as well? Because
No, it's a proper, a breast, a proper battered, like you're getting a 3-piece meal. It's just one of those.
Sweet.
If you have that as well.
A lot of food.
I love
Oh,
that.
man, the
Good.
Big Daddy.
But
Brilliant.
people are incandescent about it, and
Yeah.
I can see why.
Candescent that to gay club in Vauxhall.
Yeah. It's next to fire, Frank.
I can see why, because I think we've all felt a diluted version of this annoyance when you go in a chip shop and they go, we've no chips at the moment.
I know that is annoying.
Come on.
Or you have to wait for the fish, and you
got-
think, I don't want them when they're that.
You've got 2 jobs, fish and chips. Like, how difficult is that?
And I tell you
Yeah.
what always worries me about that is that I always think if there's a queue, the chips aren't quite going to be cooked enough because they're going to
Yeah.
think, I can't
Oh,
wait. I
yeah.
can't wait the full
Yeah.
duration.
They're always on the raw side.
And an undercooked, oh, no. Oh, no. They were described, I thought, I like this, they were described as a laughing stock in one of the things. And I
Who,
thought,
KFC?
laughing stock. Chicken
yeah.
stock was what they should have.
You're right.
They
A
didn't-
laughing chicken
I
stock.
mean, there have been a lot of good headlines on this story.
Bet there have.
There were a lot of good
Tell me one.
Oh, yeah, go on then.
Clucking Hell was one of
Whoa, that's a bit bored. Give me my A5.
the... You said tell me one, I just...
Fine. Have you
thought I
seen their
would.
apology?
Yes, I
KFC's.
have.
Oh,
It's quite-
they did a
Yeah,
funny
it's
little
quite
picture,
good.
didn't they?
Well, they've got one of those hipster agencies.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
Oh, have they no
Yeah.
socks?
With the artisanal pies and the no socks in the office at
You see,
Mother,
that's
which is,
why
I believe, their agency.
That's why BAM are sending us free socks, is that most of the cool people don't wear socks anymore.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
they're trying to get us to be like fashion-forward
I
leaders.
think that could happen.
Yeah.
Don't laugh about it. I think that could happen.
All right.
Let me laugh for a bit, please. I like some of the Vox Pops when they asked people about, how do you feel about this? And they were doing it, I think, with a slightly sort of raised eyebrow. They knew they were going to get some unintentionally comic responses. They asked one woman, he said, what do you think of it? And she said, this is madness, absolute madness. Is it? And they said, where will you go instead? And she said, Clapham. Which I loved as a response.
Yeah.
Not prêt à manger.
Well, there's that woman who's furious that she said gone to Burger King.
To go to Burger
She
King.
said, I've only been to Burger King twice in my life.
I mean, Burger King
Twice
must
more
have
than
had
me.
£3 million worth of advertising from KFC shot in, and that woman saying Burger King, because that's been
but it's
been
not,
shared
it's not
like a
great
viral.
advertising.
I've had to
Somebody
go to
furious
Burger
that they have to go there as a terrible last resort.
I mean, in a way, it feels to me like Burger King outranks KFC because the Colonel surely is lower in the pecking order than a king. Is that-
Great pecking,
yeah.
great use of pecking.
God,
Loving
pecking.
your work,
That was
Alan.
accidental, actually. But
Always the best ones.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I don't know if there's an official sort of, if there's a page in the Brits for fast food. Mr. Cod, he's just a standard
Just a mister.
commoner.
Yeah. The Codfather.
What else could there be then? 8, 12, 15. If there was a Debrets of fast food, who'd be in there?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
694 has been in touch. We were talking. We did a large section of the show on garage forecourts earlier.
Yeah.
And 694 says, hi Frank and Co. When my friend first got her new car, we were teens, she didn't know where the petrol went and walked around the car and started to put the pipe up the exhaust. I screamed no.
God, that's a metaphor for my life. I tell you what, it did occur to me about the KFC.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't they, the batter is, the batter is the magic ingredient. Couldn't they have battered some other stuff?
Well, put it on fish or
Yeah. Or bananas.
courgette.
Yeah.
I'd love a KFC batter on a banana.
Okay.
And the spices.
KFB, as I...
Well, if they went with courgette, they could still call it KFC. Kentucky Fried Courgette.
Carrots.
Yeah, there's all
Custard?
sorts of other food
Or
stuff.
what about
Custard's-
custard?
I don't think it's got the
Little batter envelopes of...
Do you know, I
I
love
think
the sound of that.
No, it'd be a bit like eating a spot, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, it'd be like
Horrible.
snogging a teenager.
Oh.
Terrorist thought, as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
We briefly
Yeah.
discussed the hierarchy of the eating outlets with
Yeah.
Burger King and the Colonel. And 484 has texted, "Hi team, Wimpy must be bottom of the food chain.
Because they're so wimpy.
They've not even got a Mister."
Yeah. We don't want some, Clinton's cards thing to befall them. Or has
True
it
enough.
already befallen them? I don't know.
857
It has now.
has suggested, "What about Captain Birdseye?" Captain is...
Oh, yeah, that's
don't know
below
where.
Colonel, isn't it?
Is
I
it?
think? Yeah.
And not a takeaway, but still with us. I ate fish fingers this
No,
week, in
I
fact.
like it. I
Good
like
story, Alan. 6 I had.
it. 6 in a go.
Yeah.
Wow.
And chips. I didn't know what the...
What did you do with the other one? Because I tend to eat them out of a glove.
Can we also make it clear, Correczione styly, that Frank
yeah.
did not mean to say hash. Frank meant hash
brown.
brown. Yeah,
What did I
All
say?
right.
hash brownie.
What does that mean?
I think that's something.
Is that what
bit
they have in
naughty.
Amsterdam?
Yeah, yes.
Right.
Well, obviously don't have one of those on it.
No.
I think that makes
No,
people
I mean, what are
strung
those
Hash
out.
brown or a chocolate brownie. That's the two things.
One of those things that's like chopped up potato with batter on. That's a
Yeah.
hash brown, is it?
Potato hash, yeah. you're
What's
right.
rösti?
Oh, a rosti.
Rosti is
Rosti, is it?
potato.
Okay.
It's a similar thing, though. Yeah.
Yeah,
very
what about
similar.
if you had it with salmon?
Horrible. Rosti's
Salmon rosti?
Salmon rosti.
Yeah.
Yeah. you can get it again now. You couldn't get it for ages. They
That's
all closed.
right.
They all closed.
Went missing, didn't they?
Yeah,
Salmon
didn't I? I had to go to Martin Amis. Anyway, it's been lovely. Thank you so much for listening this morning, guys and gals. You can't say guys and gals anymore, surely.
People.
We'll cut that out in the edit. Live, you say? Anyway, I kept saying anyway. It's getting on my nerves. Thanks for listening. And what? We've got another minute. I thought you just gave me the thing.
Oh.
What's happened? We've got another minute, apparently.
I think you said salmon rosti and then got hungry and then just
No, I
through your
think
concentration. It's
The
all this
producer is now
discussion of
trying to
food,
claim,
isn't it?
started waving the paper about, and now it's lying. I don't
The
mind
luck.
lying.
I like having an extra minute though. What are we going to do with our minute?
well,
I
actually,
feel,
we
you
should-
know what?
What should we do with it?
I feel a bit like KFC. I feel that
720.
people have turned up and the jokes haven't been delivered.
No, do you know what I feel like when you say goodbye to someone on the street? Oh, and then you're going in the same direction.
Oh, that happened
That's
to me
what's
with a member of the audience this week, Gary. Very nice bloke. We walked
Yeah.
all the way to the car park together. He got much more Alan Cochrane chat than he bargained for. Bless him. Probably bored.
I'm sure that isn't true. I made something I never do. I made friends on holiday years ago. We
you?
really got on very well. And when we got off the plane and all at the airport, we did a proper big hogs.
Not the
Well,
A-frame.
close,
Not the A-frame in those
before the
days.
A-frame.
We didn't need the A-frame
we didn't
then,
know.
now.
We didn't know that. So we did the big hogs, and it's been great, and thanks very much,
Yeah.
and all that. And then, of course, they were at the taxi rank. We basically ignored them. I think you've had that. You've had that.
You're not in the holiday bubble
I'm
anymore.
not doing it again.
Yeah.
Honestly, we barely spoke to them.
You've got to have rules, Frank.
You've got to have an ending. Yeah. Is it you're leaving it here this time? Okay. So thank you again for listening. Thanks for listening to the last bit that I hadn't thanked you for. The last time I thanked you for listening. Anyway, so thanks for listening. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.